My name is Weaam Williams. I'm a film director and writer, and sometimes I perform as well. I'm the founder of a collective called the African Film DAO. The African Film DAO represents more than 200 filmmakers from across the continent. What we do is we empower filmmakers to utilize blockchain technology and new technologies such as AI to enhance the filmmaking process. I'm also the founder of the Hollywood African Cinema Connection, which is a film festival in Cape Town showcasing exclusively African films. We are connected to the Hollywoodland DAO, which was founded by Terence Winter. Terence Winter is the writer of The Wolf of Wall Street and The Sopranos, writer and producer. So our festival connects African filmmakers to Hollywood mentorship. My company is called Holocene Films. We are a film production company. However, we also have a tech wing, Holocene Labs, which works with emerging technologies such as blockchain and AI. So the biggest challenge that I find at the moment is nepotism and corruption, a lack of transparency, and a lack of competition actually. Because what we're seeing at the moment is that there's a small group of people who control the industry. And we always have to remember that despite the fact that we have a new government, the film industry in terms of the power structures who predominantly control the industry have not changed very much. And we see this kind of infiltration of power in very many of the government institutions, you know. And for me, the biggest challenge is actually black women who speak for white men. That's one of them. The second challenge would be the level of bureaucracy and the tediousness in which government processes take place, you know. And I think all of these things can be enhanced using AI and new technologies. We are now in 2026 where I believe that so many of the sluggish processes in government can be automated. And South Africa had that moment at the precipice of democracy. We had that moment where there was a keen interest in South African film. And Tsotsi is a great example of that. Tsotsi winning an Oscar, and the last Oscar, probably the only Oscar we won, right, is a great example of that, and it's based on a South African literary work. And I think it also was a definitive moment for us as a nation in terms of cinema. And I think we've declined since then. You know, the last film we had, government funded, in Cannes, I can't actually say when that was. We had a film last year in the Cannes Film Festival, although it wasn't funded by the government. I remember though, when I first started out as a filmmaker, we had a Cape Film Commission. And that was a really good time for us. It was a good era, you know. And I remember that when I made my film Hip Hop Revolution, the first grant I got was a small, I think it was like a 10,000 Rand grant or 15,000 Rand grant from the Cape Film Commission. And I then went on to get funding from the National Film and Video Foundation. That was my first film, and it won an editing award from Spike Lee. It did really well. So I think it's really important for us to re-establish the Cape Film Commission. We have Film Cape Town, and Film Cape Town has a small amount of funding, but I believe National needs to establish a film commission for the filmmakers of Cape Town. Cape Town is an incredibly divided film society. Many service productions get shot in Cape Town, and one of my struggles has been that the biggest pieces of the pie in terms of resources is allocated to the service industry, which means that when international productions get shot here, the infrastructure and support is there for those productions. But when local filmmakers from here want to make films, we do not have a film commission we can go to, like KZN, like Gauteng. So I'd like for the minister to consider this, and I don't know if it is a call from Treasury for a regional film commission to be established in the Western Cape, but it certainly is necessary. I haven't directly worked with the DTIC. There has been a huge outcry from industry at the moment due to the collapse of the DTIC rebate. And I think this rebate is important, right? The rebate is important because hundreds of film professionals are employed when international productions are shot here. So I believe those international productions are important. However, I do not think that they should overshadow the IP generated by local filmmakers. And my concern is that if this rebate is restructured, once again, it is going to predominantly see to the needs of the service industry. Whereas actually local filmmakers needs incentives to create indigenous intellectual property. And I think with the DTIC, they should allocate as much resources to local filmmaking as they do to international service productions. So the rebate in terms of treasury and finance needs to be clearly divided into a 50-50, as in 50% of this pot is allocated to ensure that we are creating indigenous IP, right? And that could be via a rebate, or it might not necessarily be a rebate. The DTIC could also look at other interventions in how they can support the industry. For example, seed funding. We could go to the IDC to get a loan, but you need that initial 10% of seed funding before you can get that loan, right? So maybe the DTIC could intervene there. Perhaps they could also look at equity investments into film, into commercially viable films. So these are all solutions I'm thinking of in a way that industry can still thrive. So as much as there were hundreds of crew employed on these international productions, the same crew can get employed on local productions by local directors. And by local, I'm not saying only black filmmakers or only female filmmakers. All South African filmmakers have stories to tell. And I think it should still be distributed in terms of equity, so that there are allocations made for female filmmakers and there are allocations made for black filmmakers, but not to exclude anyone either. My expectations are that I would like to see the DTIC rebate reinstituted, although I'd like to see 50% of that money allocated to creating local IP. And like I said, that it doesn't need to take a rebate format. It could also be in the form of seed funding or equity investment into indigenous IP. With regards to the National Film and Video Foundation, I don't believe they need any more money than what they already have, to be honest. What I would like to see is stricter implementation of that funding process, better evaluation panels, and for them to actually be held to task in terms of their internal management structures and how funding is allocated. I'd like to see some kind of film outreach from the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology, particularly in the area that we are working in, Web3 and AI, which opens up opportunities for companies like myself who are creating interventionist tools and strategies for the film industry. Definitely the democratic constitution has benefited me in many, many ways. And I think, being a child of the 80s and 90s, I do have clear recollections of apartheid and what that meant. And my family was quite politically involved. And I remember the fear of my childhood going to school in a state of emergency, And I remember driving past the beach where I couldn't go to, And there are very many painful memories that we have of apartheid.